sense. And I'm going to reiterate it and say it again. True superiority is defined entirely. Right, but I'm still wasted. True superiority is defined entirely by merit, skill, and constructive achievement, not by violence and harm or destruction. Your logic is completely sound. Destruction requires absolutely no talent, intelligence, or special capabilities, because anyone, regardless of their mental state, competence, or stability, can destroy and cause harm. Violence can never be a metric for true greatness. Exactly. So when you're out here thinking, oh, white power, that has nothing to do with killing somebody. Why is it not white greatness is achievement? Like creating a new language, like actually getting into an Ivy League school based on what you know, not who you know. Actually doing something that is credible and tangible for people to actually be proud of, for you to actually have merit in this world. Why is it bothering us? True supremacy is built on creation, a mastery, positive contribution, things that require discipline and effort. Like, come on, you guys do stuff that requires nothing. No hard work, no ingenuity, nothing, no creativity. Resorting to harm or domination through force is actually an admission of a lack of merit. Thank you. You're actually admitting you have no merit, as it is the easiest, least sophisticated way to attempt to control a situation. Thank you. It is saying you have no merit. You don't got anything credible. So killing is the only other resort. It's a way to attempt to control a situation. Thank you. I'm trying to make you understand you don't got supremacy just because you killed somebody, just because you caused harm. It doesn't mean anything. It's actually a showing that you have no merit. And you're just mad because somebody is pulling the wall from off of you, the lie that you kept telling yourself. You're not allowed to feed it to yourself because somebody pulled the wall, the rug from under your feet and the veil from your eyes. You're just mad because your mask is shattered. Because you keep masquerading this white supremacy off as some type of superiority, and really it's just fragility. You're never going to be superior killing somebody. There is nothing in that. It doesn't require skill. It doesn't require anything that's merit-based. So if your supremacy is based on killing, baby, then that's the lowest. You lowered the bar. You lowered the bar of supremacy. Should we get AI's help? AI say it to you. Violence and murder lower the bar for superiority because they replace the high demand of actual skill, discipline, and creation with the easiest, most primitive form of control. And that is simply it. While earning genuine merit requires years of effort, intelligence, and mastery, destroying something, hold on, we make sure we get to the word right. It says, while earning genuine merit requires years of effort, intelligence, and mastery, destroying something, which is killing somebody, violence, murder, destroying something or ending a life requires zero talent. When somebody uses violence to feel superior, they are dropping the standard of greatness to a level that literally anyone can achieve, exposing their own inability to compete on an actual merit-based, in a merit-based world. It's not supremacy. It is literally a cheat code for somebody who's admitting they don't have the ability. So when y'all out there, oh, I'm lynching, so what? So? What are you smarter? Did you actually achieve something? What we're getting at is there's no achievement in it. So does diseases. Diabetes is a brainless disease. Get away with killing millions. There are retards who commit murder. There are retards today in prison or not in prison today. There's children who committed murder. It didn't take anybody smart. exactly why anytime you try to use murder or violence to assert supremacy, it is an admitting that you have no credible merit. You have no achievements. You have no intellect. You have nothing. So you lowered the bar of supremacy, because there's nothing wrong with thinking you're great. There's not even anything wrong with thinking you're better than most. What's wrong is when you start inflicting violence, because that is a mask. That means that your self-esteem is frail, that your superiority is fragile, and you have to overcompensate to try to get your bearings back because you don't even believe in it. The lowering of the bar happens through several psychological and structural shifts. Eliminating the need for competition or competence, eliminating the need for competence, building a business, mastering an art, raising a family, or achieving science takes immense capability. Violence bypass all of that. It allows a person without any real achievement to command attention and instill fear instantly, substituting fear for respect. Destroying the competition. Instead of outperforming them, I want you to hear this. Destroying competition. Instead of outperforming them, true superiority means being better at a given pursuit. Violence shifts the goalposts from how can I elevate myself to how can I drag others below me. By harming or eliminating others, the perpetrator tries to win by default rather than by capability, which I've been saying from the beginning. The illusion of absolute power. Taking a life or causing severe harm gives a temporary toxic rush of total control. However, this is a cheap shortcut. It mimics the impact of a great achievement without requiring any of the actual character and intelligence or endurance that true greatness demands. Ultimately, choosing violence is the ultimate admission of weakness. It is a confession that the individual cannot measure up to a true merit-based standard. So they break the system entirely just to feel like they came out on top. End of discussion. That is white supremacy at its finest. That is what it's always been. You break the system so that you can feel like you're always on top. That is what all this violence is. That's why we keep hearing about these lynchings, these shootings, this police brutality, this police brutality. All of this stuff is your fictitious way of feeling like you're always on top without doing any real work, without any real intellect, without any real actual achievement.
If you don't
End of discussion. End of discussion. To say this, and there's nothing wrong with you feeling better than somebody. There's nothing wrong with you feeling like your race is better than somebody, other races. It's nothing wrong with it. The problem is what you are doing. You do not need to hurt somebody to feel better than. That is not a need unless your feeling better than is predicated on the conditions and joy and happiness of someone else, which is a fragile self-esteem that is rented and is predicated on the conditions of others, which means that you don't have self-esteem at all. That is what I'm trying to say. You never need that. It's nothing wrong with feeling highly about yourself. It's nothing wrong with thinking you great. It's nothing wrong with thinking you better, because naturally some people are better. Some people are just gifted to be better at things than other people, and that's just what it is. You cannot change that. Simone Biles is an amazing gymnast, one of the best gymnasts alive. So is, I forgot the other girl's name, but so is several of those girls. Most of us cannot compete with any of those gymnasts, no matter their race. Most of us can't do what they do because they're better than us at that. And that's just natural. Basketball, they're basketball players most of us cannot compete with because they're better than us at it. So naturally, there are going to be natural situations where people are better. I don't care what it is. So when there's nothing wrong, and there's going to be times where those people know they're better. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is if they start inflicting pain on people, killing people, then that's a whole different ballgame. Because that so-called self-esteem and supremacy is fragile. It's something that you don't believe. It's something that you are trying to convince somebody, yourself and everybody, that you're mistreating. That's the truth. You're trying to convince, no, you can't mistreat me and think I'm going to be convinced you great. No, I think you suck, actually. And I think you got to overcompensate for the fact that you know you suck. If you mistreat me, I never think somebody mistreat me. There ain't no reflection of me. That's a reflection of you. How you treat me ain't got nothing to do with me. You stupid if you thought I believed it. Anybody that's dumb enough to think, oh, if this person mistreat me, it don't got nothing to do with me. It has something to do with your character. You have a poor character because you feel inadequate. You have low self-esteem. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's something to do with you. You're the one who got to overcompensate to make yourself feel better. So instead of you going out of your way to make yourself feel better and believe truly, because that's what it is, because you don't really believe it, to believe in yourself truly with superiority, you would act better. If you truly believe you were better than somebody, nobody would even notice you. Why? Because you be on cloud nine. Because people with true confidence don't do anything to anybody. They just excel in whatever they're good in, and whatever they're not, they accept. That's true greatness. Nobody I ain't never seen a superior person hurt nobody, right? I only see the wimpy folk that pretend like they superior. The ones who are really fragile and weak. They're emotionally unstable and inadequate. And anytime somebody confront them about their inadequacies, they get upset because the veil have been pulled from off of them and they're exposed in that fragile and they're at that fragile state that they can't handle. So now they're in fight or flight. They're in fight or flight. Is it fight or flight? And where now they're feeling in defense mode, and now they got to attack because now you done released the fact that they so frail. And instead of them fixing the frailty in them, they trying to fix the way somebody perceive it. No, fix you. You're the one that's frail. You're the one that has all these mental hang-ups. You're the one overcompensating. Right, because that is the basis. I'm not leaving God out of it. I'm not saying that it's not about God. What I'm saying is, yes, when you don't have God in your heart, when you don't put God first, then your self-esteem gonna be last. When you don't know how to incorporate your self-esteem with God, you're gonna always have those inadequacies. And you're gonna always feel like that because you're trying to get earthly satisfaction. And then the way you're trying to get it is through sinning, which is going to cause you to be more and more and far more away from God. And that is the problem in and of itself. You keep on trying to seek some type of self-preservation, which is only making you feel even more fragile because all somebody got to do is pull back the curtain. That's all I'm doing is pulling back the curtain and exposing you. The exposing is that you're frail and that this supremacy that you keep talking about is just frailty. It's a rented self-esteem that is predicated on the life and well-being of someone else. Y'all gotta stop this mess. This junk is idiotic. Confront yourself in the name of Jesus Christ. Confront yourself. Amen.